We slowed down a little bit with people entering the chat. I'm sure a few more will. Welcome to the first Parent Press of the year. This is something that we did throughout the closure last year for our new 6th grade parents who may not have had the opportunity to experience one of these. It's a virtual meeting and it's really focused about giving you the opportunity to ask some questions. We can't promise that we will have all of the questions, but we definitely are interested in not only communicating with you, but keeping lines of communication open and giving you opportunities to talk with us. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Generally, at the beginning of every Parent Press, we ask a couple of things. Keep yourself muted because a lot of time the feedback causes it to become a little difficult for people to hear. Go ahead and feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box. We usually have a few things to present at the very beginning. I'm letting a couple of people in. We usually have a few things to present at the beginning, and then the rest of the time is dedicated to going through the chat box and answering your questions specifically or giving you the best information that we have at the time. This is your questions. This slide just shows you interested locating grade administrator. Mr. Andrew Hoffer is our, and then Miss Taylor is our 6th grade administrator and also our AP spec. And this is your administrative team. We're here to serve you and your students. And we are in the building right now, Monday through Thursday. I think the 21st is our first, it's either our first or our last Friday off. And then we'll go back to being in the building Monday through Friday. Parent Press, like I said, and I'll give a brief description for our new parents or our 6th grade parents. It's a virtual meeting for parents, so you can ask questions or just hear the latest information that we know. We started doing Parent Presses during the closure, and they were not only well attended, but we got a lot of feedback from parents just saying thank you for attempting to just give us as much information as you could. And so with such a positive response to Parent Press, I knew it was going to be something that I was going to do as long as I'm a principal. Whether we're in the building fully or not, this virtual option makes it convenient for those of you that may not be able to make a PTA meeting or a parent meeting. You can get some information and have opportunities to talk with us as well. We call it PRESS because PRESS is our positive behavioral intervention motto here at Jolliffe. The P, the R, and the E stand for our cornerstone characteristics of pride, respect, and effort. And the building was opened 20 years ago with those 3 main characteristics, students and staff having pride, giving the most effort, and taking responsibility and ownership for themselves and the work that they do. As we walked through the process of becoming a PBIS school, our teachers felt it really important to add an S for safety and then an S for social responsibility. So your students should hear us talking about press and pressing for success often because again, they're cornerstones of how we want to interact with one another and how we want to be able to assist them in achieving the goals that you've set for them and the goals that we have for them. So I'll walk you through a couple of things. Something that I think is important for us all to think about is the spring and the fall and how they're going to be vastly different. And if you look at that left-hand column, the spring really was a situation that was a reaction, more of a crisis response situation. We were planning on the fly. We were doing the best that we could with no notice. School closed on the 13th of March, and we had no idea at that time that we would not be back in session at all for the rest of the school year. So the spring was crisis response. The fall is situational response. We're looking at the situation and we're planning and preparing. We have time to learn. We have time to develop skills and, you know, it's really all of us developing skills, the students adapting, teachers, administrators, parents, we're all adapting, but now we have some time to do that. So we have spent the summer planning and preparing. If you look at the spring, there were multiple electronic formats, and it made it really challenging, not only for teachers and administrators, but challenging for students and parents to figure out, where do I go to get information? What type of format are we using to have class? Are my kids supposed to be in the Google Meet or the Zoom? Again, that was a product of crisis response. Whereas in the fall, we have a learning management system called Schoology. You're going to be hearing a lot about that. Our technology integration specialist, who is dynamic, Mrs. Salamino, our 7th and 8th grade parents probably had the opportunity to not only meet her, but to sit in on some of her parent workshops. And we will be doing parent workshops this month and going into the school year to help you become more familiar with and feel more confident in helping your student with online learning. But in the fall, we have that learning management system that really is going to make things be more centralized, a one-stop shop, if you will. Of course, we will still have Synergy for grade bookkeeping, but we won't have a million different places that you'll have to look in order to get information. You'll be able to really look to Schoology to see how your child is doing, see what assignments they should be working on, that type of thing. The instructional focus in the spring was remediation and some enrichment and minimal new learning. And that was from the State Department down to divisions. With such a quick change and all of us having to pivot into this new situation, the State Department understandably didn't think it was fair to have students still trying to amass new knowledge, be assessed on it, and graded for it, and that be a part of their permanent record. So what will be different in the fall is the instructional focus. Yes, we'll start the year with some remediation to see if we can make up some skills that may have been missed in the spring. New material, actual teaching and learning and grading will be going on from day one. And it'll be a better blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning experiences. It won't seem so one-sided. You will know that your student has had experience and one-to-one communication and contact with all of his or her teachers. Attendance in the spring, there was no mandatory attendance. Again, it was because of that quick pivoting, and it was that belief that in many instances, parents and families were trying to cope and figure out how to best deal and get acclimated with the situation. And so that couldn't be something that could be held against a student or a family. Attendance will be defined differently, and we're waiting to get more details from the BDOE, but attendance will be taken during this time period. And you don't have to worry, because there will be some understanding for situations, a little more latitude with the definition for attendance now, but we have to keep attendance in order to be able to promote students and give students in high school credits. And then the last piece that's really more personal to us, something that we felt really important, was really important in the closure, was that we tried our hardest to remain connected to the kids and keep our promises. Students asked me for some things last year. Last year was my first year at Jolliffe, for those of you that don't know. And for example, they asked for a talent show. And we felt like it was really important to give them the talent show, even though we were in a whole new different format. And we did. So you can see here that during the closure, we had a guest speaker, we had a poetry slam event, a talent show, an academic award ceremony, an athletic award ceremony. All of those events were virtual, and they're still on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go to our YouTube channel and check out some of those events. We held after-school activities for some of our clubs. They met after school hours, but virtually, like our knitting club, the Bible club, and we plan to have even more clubs meeting on a regular basis to keep the kids connected. Again, we started Parent Press, and we did Parent Press twice a week for about the first month, and then we went to once a week through the whole closure to stay connected with parents. And then we took our staff newsletter and made it a total school newsletter and emailed it to families and called it the Jam newsletter. We talk about the Jam often. A group of Jaguars is called a Jamboree. And so we always reference that as Jam family because we're all a part of this and we're all in this together. And so for fall of 2020, we plan to do all of those types of things and then some. We've got some great plans for not only new clubs, but some new activities and ways to keep connected. So that gives you an idea of how the fall is going to be vastly different. We're going to continue to talk about how the fall is going to be different so you can feel confident that your child is really getting a great education. Our expectations haven't moved, even though we're not in the building and our staff and our students aren't all together. Our expectations have still remained extremely high. And we want you to hold us accountable for keeping those high expectations. How are we planning and preparing for the fall? We want you to know some of the things that we're doing. All staff, including administrators, are completing trainings. Some of them are CPS mandated, but I'll tell you, a lot of them have been self-guided. Our teachers have really dug into trying to learn strategies, adapt strategies, and become really good at online learning. Bottom line, if you picked option 1 or option 2, we're all starting virtually, and so all of the teachers need to be prepared for that. And I'm really proud of the staff for taking it on as their own mission to educate themselves on virtual learning. We've been cleaning and prepping the building. You'll see a little bit more about that. But for those of you that have been in the building, it is by far the cleanest building I've ever been in, and this is year 26 in Chesapeake for me. And I've had jobs that have allowed me to see the vast majority of the buildings in the division, and it is pristine, and it is ready in terms of cleanliness, but also in sanitation measures. And we've also started implementing some of our ways to keep students safe from COVID. And we'll talk a little bit about that today too. We're finishing up a calendar of helpful events, helpful to you and to students. We're creating an online student handbook that's going to be interactive, and it'll be online so it can be constantly updated as things change. As you know, throughout this whole situation, information and news doesn't stay the same from week to week, day to day. And so we wanted to be able to create a resource for you that is going to stay up to date with what's going on in the building. We've been reviewing virtual learning research for social emotional learning. How can we help students cope with the anxiety, the stress of virtual learning? How can we help our staff? What things can we focus on or remind even parents that they can do? What ways can we help you help your student? What ways can we help you? PBIS, like I said, our press mantra is really going to be in full effect this year, and we're looking at ways to be able to take each letter and make it really personal for our students and their experience. For example, social responsibility. As you're aware, there's a lot going on in our country. There's a lot of civil unrest. And we know our middle school students are experiencing that and having emotion behind that. And we want to be able to give them an avenue to talk and to discuss those things, and then to feel empowered, to know that their opinion and their beliefs matter. And so under social responsibility, that last letter in press, we're going to be giving them some ways to not only focus on what they're feeling, but how to respect others' opinions and to work with others even if you disagree. We're looking at safety, that first S in press, in terms of not only safety in the building, but safety in terms of COVID, understanding the science behind it, understanding ways that you can keep yourself safe and others. So again, looking at all of those bits of research, the staff has poured over those things over the summer. And then just really keeping up to date on COVID-19. Our school division is looking at 2 metrics in order to determine whether students are on campus or somewhere on the continuum between being on campus, traditional learning, all the way over to temporary online learning, and just having a better understanding of those things for the entire staff is helpful so we can communicate the right information to you. This slide looks at synchronous and asynchronous. I mentioned that we were going to be working to have a better balance, and we're going to be offering some workshops to really dig into this particular topic, because this is what sets virtual learning apart. Because there, yes, is going to be some face-to-face opportunities for your child to engage with their teacher and their classmates. But then there's also opportunities for students to do work and to demonstrate mastery on their own. And different types of formats that fall under both of these 2 types of online formats. In the fall, you're going to see a better balance of these things than you did in the spring. And we know that was really confusing to a lot of parents. It was confusing to a lot of us as educators because honestly, we've never been through anything like this to be able to liken our experience to our next steps. And so really, again, we were planning on the fly, attempting to do the very best that we could, but we know that it left a lot of room for growth. And I think that once the fall starts, you're going to be able to see the changes and the difference and all of those things that we've worked on. But like I said, we're going to have a workshop dedicated to virtual learning for parents. And the date for that will be in our August newsletter, which will be emailed to you on Friday of this week. So what have we done in the building to get ready? One of our rhymes for everybody in the building is going to be walk under the sign all the time. You can see with this picture, we already have signs hanging in the hallway that indicate, if you look at the yellow arrows, it indicates where you should be walking at all times under the sign. That's going to make sure that we have 6 feet for social distancing between lines of students or teachers walking in the hallways, since our staff will be back with us at the end of August. So you can see we've already got those hanging, in the ceiling, and that's going to be part of our orientation discussion with students, is really paying attention and your social responsibility to follow these rules so we're all safe. Something else that we've done, we're really excited to have this year a touchless water fountain in every academic area. I have to give a lot of credit to the principal at Western Branch Middle School. Dr. Kashaba last year, at the beginning of the school year, started researching touchless water fountains, realized lots of students need and want access to water, and they're carrying water bottles. And he looked into the cost of having these installed and what his school would have to do, what fundraising would they need to do in order to be able to make this possible. And so last year, they did a lot of fundraising to be able to replace their water fountains, I believe all of their water fountains, with touchless water fountains. About a month ago, he emailed all the middle school principals and he said, hey, I accidentally ordered one too many. Does anybody want it? It cost about $1,000. I emailed immediately and said I want it. Luckily, we were the first ones to jump at the offer. And then I had my office staff, who's amazing, start to research the cost for us. And we looked at expenditures that we didn't have to make at the end of the school year because of the closure. We also looked at funds raised by some of our clubs and talked with some of those sponsors to say, hey, you didn't get the opportunity to do this. Would you be willing to purchase a touchless water fountain for an academic area? Again, our staff really rallied, and so we're really excited to be able to say that every academic area will have a touchless water fountain. And again, as you can see from the description surrounding the picture, there's a lot of benefits to us having this, and students not having to touch the water fountain to get water, to not have to lower their face to the water fountain. It just gives us another layer of protection from COVID, the flu, etc. So they've all now come in, and will be installed next week. So they will be here ready for staff to come back in when students return. Our school division is really focused on doing the exact same thing. Just this week, we received our hand sanitizer stations. You can see this picture here is an actual picture of what we've gotten so far. We've gotten 10 of those. They're going to be around the building stationed. They're touchless as well. You hover your hand underneath and hand sanitizer is dispensed. And so this is just another way to make sure that students have ample opportunities to keep their hands clean. You know, our teachers will be given hand sanitizer from the division. They'll be given gloves. They will have a limited supply of masks just in case a student loses theirs or forgets theirs. And then every student will have the ability to receive a face shield. We just learned that this week. So again, the school division is doing everything in their power to make sure that we're prepared for when students return. We're not waiting for the students to come back, but we're already taking those steps. How can you help us and plan and prepare? Connect with our social media accounts. I know a lot of parents have said to me they're not a Twitter fan, they don't like Instagram, and I totally understand that, but it's one of the quickest and easiest ways to get a pulse on what's going on in the building. Events are always reiterated there. But we will email, we will do Sunday calls and PAS calls, parent alert calls. But we also put good things that are going on in the building, pictures from field trips or student awards, student recognition. So please consider joining our Twitter account or our Instagram account. Register and attend Angst. Our amazing PTA along with CHKD, is sponsoring the showing of Angst, which is about teen anxiety. It's tomorrow evening. We've sent in the newsletter and an email the flyer and the registration link, because you do have to register for that event, but it's tomorrow at 7. I think it's a rescheduled event. It was supposed to happen for us in April, but it's happening now, and we kind of think it's perfect timing because a lot of kids are anxious about the uncertainty and what faces them once school starts. Please update your Synergy contact information if need be. That's how we call you. That's how the all calls go out. That's how the emails go out. And you can do that by emailing administration or calling school. Attend our parent workshops. You're going to see the August offerings in the newsletter, and those are going to be some during the day and also offered in the evening for those of you that's more convenient for. But those workshops are intended to keep you connected and help you just gain some additional skills if you need them. Talk to your student about COVID safety and COVID safety as it relates to others, and respecting space and respecting others' decisions and boundaries. That helps us. Join our PTA. Our PTA is amazing. And as we continue to meet, you'll hear more and more about them. I'm pretty sure our PTA president, Amanda Allen, is in the meeting tonight. And they just really have not only big plans, but high expectations for themselves. And we're making sure that your child has a great experience while they're here at Jolliffe. And then just to realize virtual learning is different than face-to-face learning. It's very different. Your expectations have to shift. Ours did, our teachers did. Not expectations in terms of excellence, but just expectations on what you're going to see and how you're going to receive information, how your students are going to interact. Our school supply list is available on our website. I just really quickly wanted to draw your attention to something that we added as an administrative team and thought was really important. And we listed this section, it's highlighted in yellow, extras to provide brain body breaks and mental health boosts. You'll see in our bell schedule where we try to prompt the kids to take a brain break. We're working with our teachers to provide those brain breaks to your students. You know, sitting for hours on end isn't good for anybody. And so we want kids to take some responsibility for standing up, jumping rope, walking around the house, inside the house or outside. If they like yoga or they're interested in yoga, getting a yoga mat, maybe a coloring book or their playlist so they can play music between classes. Maybe if you give them permission to install a meditation or a breathing app on their phone, all of those things are going to help them because the days are going to seem long for many of them who just aren't used to learning this way. We want the staff to take responsibility for prompting them to do that and encouraging them to do that, but we want to develop learners who do that on their own and focus on being in tune with how they feel and what they can do to make themselves feel better and learn more. These items are recommended, they're not required, it's just food for thought. We want you to know that we're being really conscious and intentional about our communications with the kids, and we want you just to know, you know, what we're thinking about. So today's information is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to share in days and weeks to come. We promise. The August newsletter is going to have a ton of information. It's going to be emailed August 14th. And then our next parent press will be August 19th at 6 p.m. We are recording this session, so we will post the recorded sessions on our website. So just in case you miss it, or if you want to listen to this again, you'll have the opportunity to do that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And the APs are going to roll through the chat so we can answer some of your questions. Continue to type those in if you need to. All right. All right. Which AP? Matter of fact, let me let everybody wave. Ms. Horton, can you wave at everybody? 8th grade AP, Mr. Hoffer, can you wave? 7th grade AP, Ms. Taylor, can you wave? 6th grade AP and AP SPED. Miss Allen is cooking. Can you wait? Oh, there she is. That's our PTA president for all of you who haven't had the opportunity to meet them. It's great to see all of you that I can see. We're excited that you're here. So let's get to some of your questions. I don't want us to not have that opportunity. So who's going to read them to me? Oh, I have to unmute you? Did I lock everybody down? Wow. All right, sorry, Allie.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, ready.
All right, first question. When will we be getting textbooks for the online learners?
We have not been given guidance on when we will be distributing textbooks or what textbooks we'll be distributing. Believe it or not, we're still in the process of collecting textbooks back from the closure, if you can believe it. We're still collecting items from the closure, understandably, and we still have a cafeteria full of items that kids left in their lockers. In the August newsletter, I will be telling everybody the date at the very end of August that we're going to make major donation to one of the thrift stores because we can't house it anymore. We've got so much. But so we're still working on that. All the schools are. And so central office hasn't given us that information. But as soon as we know, we'll let you know for distribution of textbooks and Chromebooks.
All right. Will online be like a regular school day?
It will have a bell schedule. We'll be sharing that with you. It will have a semblance of a regular school day, but a very different feel. For example, there will be a time frame for a class period of 45 minutes, but we're really focusing teachers on only spending 30 minutes in the class period. The classes will be recorded and stored so students can watch them again, or you can say, hey, you need to sit down and watch this class again and interact with that information. And the reason for that is when you're face-to-face, the anxiety level of students, because they know what school's about and they know how instruction's delivered, isn't as high. In an online learning, when it's totally new, it's different, you might feel a little shyer asking a question until you get, really used to the format. Those types of things we're taking into account so kids aren't stuck in front of the computer all day long. Because that doesn't breed optimal retention of information. They need to kind of have the new information and then have some time to process it. So that's one of those things where online learning does look different, but it does have more structure than the spring. So it will feel more like a regular school day.
And there will be a schedule that they'll be able to refer to.
Oh, absolutely. Just like in the spring, we offered a schedule for parents to be able to look at and say, okay, you should be doing this class right now. You will have that. It'll be more detailed than the spring. In the spring, schools got to decide if they did that or not. We felt like parents want to have like a roadmap, and even if the roadmap was a little vague, and what we heard from parents was they much rather have had that roadmap than no roadmap. So, but you will get a bell schedule and be able to pinpoint what they should be doing when. Absolutely.
The next question involves what's orchestra, band, chorus going to look like for our online students? Will they be able to continue with orchestra and band? Absolutely.
They'll be able to continue. It will, of course, look a little different. Our music teachers have been amazing and have really spent a ton of time with that self-guided research on how do you make good connections and develop, not just give class to virtual music learners, but develop learners, develop musicians. And they've got some really exciting things planned. Concerts if we have to virtually, playing together if we have to virtually, instruction, small group instruction. They're ready for all of that. Our band teachers already been doing interviews and things like that virtually. So you'll definitely be very pleased with how music is going to look in the fall, different from the spring, for sure.
Okay. There's a question about submitting immunization records and paperwork for any on-site classes or activities.
So any paperwork like that, you can submit via email. You can email our data quality clerk. Her name is Miss Powell, or you can email admin. We are open by appointment. So if you need to come in and see someone, you just need to make sure you have a mask, and we're going to abide by social distancing guidelines, but we are available by appointment. So you can also come in and bring those things and talk face-to-face to somebody if you want to as well.
All right, how do we reserve a device for virtual learning?
So when you completed the option 1 or option 2 survey, when you submitted your decision, is my child going to be option 1 on the campus continuum or option 2 Chesapeake online 100% virtual for the semester, you also should have been answering the question whether or not you had a device, if the device was shared with a family member, if you had internet, if your internet was strong enough for virtual communication, transportation, and if you wanted COVID information. So at this point, if you need to make a change to any of that information, or if you need to say, something is, you realize, oh, I didn't answer that question, you need to just give us a call or email one of the administrators, and we'll get the form that you need to fill out to you right away.
All right, how are kids taking high school classes going to be graded?
Everybody's going to be graded under the fashion of Chesapeake grading guidelines, which are in line with the VDOE grading guidelines. High school or 1 credit courses that are starting a student's high school transcript, those classes will be in attendance every single day. For middle school students, their other core classes won't be every day. There's kind of like a rotation. So English and history, English and math, yes, English and math, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday and Thursday is English and history. 1 credit classes every single day. Did I say it backwards?
Math and English together, and history and science together.
Science together. Math and English Monday, Wednesday, Friday. History, science Tuesday, Thursday. 1 credit classes like Spanish or geometry every single day. And they will be graded in the same manner as they would have as if this was a regular normal school year. Yep. All kids will. Yes.
So the next question had to do with immunization, but they asked specifically about athletic participation and parent consent forms.
So athletics, we're taking our lead from the VHSL, Virginia High School League, which is really governs high school sports. The CMSL, or Chesapeake Middle School League, is following the pattern of the VHSL. Again, we're not going to have more access, should I say, to sports than the state governing body. And right now the VHSL has moved football or fall sports, all fall sports, to the spring and put it in between winter and spring sports. So if the VHSL, and if we're able, if sports begin, basketball and wrestling would be the first sports to begin under guideline restrictions. And I see a kid, James Clark, I see you. Sorry, I get excited. It just, we love to see the kids and we don't get to see them often. So sorry about that. Now he's hiding.
You made him run away.
I know. So all of the immunization records, I would go ahead, do those things. If you can get a physical for athletics, do that now, because as you know, when we go into lockdown, it's hard to do a regular type of appointment. We will, if able, offer athletic physicals if we get close to having sports. And we're right now trying to develop and determine what our coaches can do. We're really hoping that our coaches are going to be able to do some virtual discussions, some discussions about training, and maybe even in small groups, some social distance coaching. But the school division is working on that as we speak. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. And so I'll still along those lines, how will online learners be engaged and informed of school activities and events? So
we have several different ways. For students, I do email blasts to students. We have Instagram, which has our largest social media following, and by and large, mostly students, but we do understand not all parents approve of Instagram. So we also post the same thing on Twitter. We post the same thing on our website. Our teachers will be announcing things, and they did during the closure. Schoology will push out information to them as well. And we do plan to have a student group on Schoology where we announce everything. So that's going to come directly to them every single time. We plan to do the exact same thing with parents, including for parents, we have Parent Press. And the newsletter goes to both parents and students. The Sunday call goes to parents. I do, during the school year, a call every Sunday, with the exception of some holidays. And that gives you a look at what's going on for the week coming up. Usually there's some shout outs to staff, students, and parents, and then I roll into what's going on, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like last Sunday's call, I talked about Parent Press, and I talked about angst on Thursday, and I talked about the newsletter would be emailed on Friday. So that's kind of the pattern for those. But starting last Sunday, you'll get one of those every Sunday to let you know and your students know what's going on.
We're doing a lot for engagement and connections. So
yes. Oh, let me add, our guidance counselors will have their own pages. Through the closure, they did group chats if kids were interested. They did small group chats, and they did lunch bunch. They do lunch bunch in the building, and they still did it during closure. Some of our students, some of our teachers still did their club activities virtually. So kids got together. Me and the administrators did check-ins by grade levels. And so we said, hey, sixth graders, meet the administration so you can tell us what you think about stuff. So we had those opportunities as well. Sorry about that. I wanted to add it.
Perfect. All right. It may be too early to ask, but will SOLs be required this year?
It is too early to ask. Accreditation has been waived. I'm letting some parents in. I think they keep getting kicked out. Accreditation for schools has been waived. Just like it was during the closure, it's been waived this year. But that doesn't mean that we won't have SOL testing, and it doesn't mean that the SOLs won't be tracked or counted. The state superintendent, Dr. Lane, has not given us that information yet. So we're waiting for that info, just like you are. And you know, if you're interested, you can go on the VDOE website. They do have a link for parents, and then you'll get emailed updates. You'd find out information at the same time we do, if you're interested in that. And his updates come out, I would say, at least every other week.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the question is, should we install a camera on our child's computer for meetings?
If your student does not have a camera currently, the goal is for our school division to be one-to-one, and that all kids, middle and high school, will be getting Chromebooks. We're still waiting on all the details about distribution, the parameters around that, paperwork for all of that. Again, the whole world is trying to get Chromebooks. So I would say in the interim, if you can get them a camera, that would work. I wouldn't invest a lot of money in it, because at some point your child will have access to a Chromebook and will have the ability to have that virtual interaction. As you're looking for a camera though, please feel free to give us a call and let us know that information. And we'll work with our TSSs to see if we have something here that they can use until they have the Chromebook in hand.
All right, so we are getting into a couple of repeat questions that I think you've already answered, but there won't be any fall sports at this time. They've been pushed back to spring, and we may start with winter, but we're not sure. Will students be expected to be online for the entire school day? There will be a schedule. You talked about that.
Yes.
How will the kids be meeting daily through Zoom, Google Classroom, and how will the school day be like the hours? So
right. So Bell schedule, Schoology will be their learning management system. It'll house everything, and through Schoology, they'll be able to log into their it's called a course dashboard, and see all of their courses, select their course, and then click to their online class meeting. We are going to have a parent workshop on Schoology in August, and that date's going to be available for you in the August newsletter emailed to you on Friday. You know, just in case you want to check that out, or you could watch the workshop recorded, because we will do that as well.
So can the clubs meet in person if they are in small groups? Possibly.
We haven't even gotten to the part of discussing and talking with all of our sponsors yet. You probably, if you've looked at the information in our return to school framework, there's been conversation about, even though we're all starting online, small groups of students may be asked to come into the building to work on specific skills and assignments. If things aren't really going well, and teachers feel like we really need to have some communication on some type of rotating basis. So there is the potential for clubs and small groups to be able to meet. And that's kind of what I was referring to in reference to, say, our football team. We won't be playing games in the fall, but it doesn't mean that kids who are interested in football couldn't meet, talk, and do that type of thing to keep them interested and connected.
So when the students go back to school, will family students be in the same classes?
Will family students be in the same classes?
Maybe they'll be on the same track. So if you have two students who are coming, a sixth grader and an eighth grader, they would be on the same schedule, which days they come back.
Yeah,
But we're not going to put a 6th grader and an 8th grader in the same
the
room.
same class, no. But if you're, matter of fact, across all levels, they're trying to link the family. So in other words, if you have an elementary school student at Southwestern, you have a kid at Jolliffe and one at Western Branch, they would all be going to school on the same day and at home on the same day.
But
And
if you
that's
have twins, we could possibly put them in the same classroom if.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and we do. We have sets of twins, had a set of triplets last year. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's possible for sure.
If the students go back to a regular class, will they have to do a COVID test or just wear masks?
If they go back to regular class, will they have to COVID test? I'm not sure. We're going to have to follow whatever the guidelines are for the CDC and then the Virginia Health Department. We are aware that we will have to do screenings. Right now, that's the guideline. So when even staff comes into the building as of now, we're taking temperatures, recording it, and asking the questions. You know, have you felt ill? Have you been coughing? That type of thing. We will have to do the screenings in the morning if the guidelines mandate, but I don't know if it would become as strict as you have to provide a COVID test showing that you were negative.
But masks will be required.
Oh yes, masks will be required. And as I mentioned in the presentation, the school division is providing shields for students who want that extra layer of protection. And we will have a limited supply of gloves and masks for students just in case they forget them and things like that. That way you don't have to come over and bring them a mask. Yeah.
And you talked about what will be required for the students to return to face-to-face. There's metrics that we're following.
Yes, if you've watched the school board meetings, you've heard. If you haven't, then the 2 metrics that we're looking at are the positivity rate and then the case incidence rate. And in both of those presentations, they provided a range that's low, moderate to high. Right now, as you know, Chesapeake is a hot spot, Hampton Roads is a hot spot. We're decreasing, but we're still considered in the high range for both of those metrics. So that means virtual will start. So the process is to watch those 2 specific metrics and then any other that the CDC or the health department say we have to watch. Well, right now we're looking at those 2. And when they both move into the low range and stay in the low range for at least 2 weeks, then we can talk about kids coming back to school. Yeah.
So how and when will the student get their schedule?
Right now, central office has told us, because we're working on those, we actually have to do multiple schedules this year, and usually we do one big one with some things overlapped, like 8th graders with high school credits or special ed classes. And now we're actually doing multiple. We have an online piece for our kids who are 100% online with our Jolliffe teachers. Then we have the continuum kids, option 1 kid schedule. Then we have all the overlap. So we're working on it and we're almost done. But schedules are set to be mailed around the 27th or 28th. We're going to include information on Schoology. We're going to include information on some of the things that you hear through the workshops. We'll reiterate it in that mailing as well.
Okay. If the family chose option 1 and for some reason our child needs to be self-quarantined, maybe because of an exposure to a family member with a positive COVID, how will provisions be made for them to participate remotely in the days they would have ordinarily been on campus?
So right now with us starting virtually, they're already going to be getting online instruction until November if they're in middle or high school, for sure. So after that, because of that medical situation, they absolutely would be rolled into an available seat in the online instruction. An available seat, through the duration until they're cleared and ready to come back. Exemptions are the ones then allowed into the next. Yep, I'm working.
To do it for 9 o'clock. 380 registered so far. Super excited to share that on their social media or email or like family members. That's great. the board met on Monday, so we're super excited about sharing those fundraiser ideas with parents, and we'll share those with you on Tuesday. That's totally my fault.
It is not.
It is. So we're looking to do like a readathon so that all of our students can participate, whether they're in option 1 or option 2, because you guys know me, and I want all of our Jolliffe students to be able to participate, whether they are in the building or out of the building, doesn't matter to me. So we think a readathon is going to be great for that, to be able to do that. So more details will be coming with that. Spiritware is coming out soon, and we'll be able to do like pre-orders and a curbside pickup for parents. So we're hoping to do that as well for parents in the next few weeks. So if parents can kind of keep a lookout for that, that would be great. If parents have membership, PTA membership, that'll be on our member hub site in the next couple of days. I was trying to figure out how to put that online today. I'm not the most technological savvy person when it comes to that. So that'll be up in the next couple of days, parents. And we'll send you the link for that, Ms. Garrett.
And because I'll add that to the newsletter for Friday.
Yeah, so it's $5 membership. So being that this is Jolliffe's 20th year, we are, anyone that knows me knows that Jolliffe is my happy place. I love Jolliffe. So we are super happy and super excited that even though we're in kind of a weird year, and this is our 20th year, we really, really want to embrace that. It's our 20th year. So Spiritware will kind of embrace that 20th year. We have an exciting idea for a class gift, sort of. So kind of some surprises coming that way. Like I said, the readathon, some Spiritware coming our way. So just because we're out of the building does not mean PTA is not working hard behind the scenes. So I'm super excited. So our Facebook page is up. If anyone has any questions for that, feel free for them to message us. And please know that for any parent that messages us, we come to you guys for those answers. So yeah. What is Miss Allen cooking? Is that what someone asked? I'm actually cooking. I'm cooking 2 different meals because my husband wanted stroganoff and another person wanted Alfredo. So I'm cooking 2 different meals tonight. Yeah, I'm that wife tonight. So yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to like bump in there with angst, because angst is like a it's kind of near and dear to my heart. When Emma was in 6th grade, she had some anxiety problems, and being that I'm a very involved parent, I didn't even know that was going on. And so I was like, we have to do something. So I'm very thankful for CHKD providing this movie for us. And so I want all of our kids to be able to, we got to learn and talk together. I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm really sorry.
That's okay. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
So, yeah, that's all I wanted to throw in there. Was for angst tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Super. Thank y'all for everything.
So our next question has to do with a parent asking, what does it look like for orchestra and PE? They ask, are they coming in for those blocks?
No.
No.
Nope. They'll have an assigned day for those classes. And again, teachers this go round have to communicate and hold class face-to-face. They have to provide instruction, direct instruction. They have to give opportunity for reflection, and they have to grade students. So they will definitely look different, but no, kids cannot come in for those classes.
All right, do we need to submit a physical form with shot records to the school for new students?
Depending on grade level, yes. So I would just call to talk to our data quality clerk, and she can tell you the details on immunization and physicals.
All right. Will there be an orientation for each grade level prior to the start of school to allow the kids to get to meet their teachers?
Yes, there will be. Of course, it'll be virtual. Right now, we have not been cleared to do any in-person things, but if that changes, we'll change with it. And we do have those tentative dates, and right now they are in the newsletter that you're going to be getting on Friday. So yes, we're, just like we were during the closure, committed to taking things that should have happened in person and trying to provide a virtual option or the next best option, for sure. Especially for 6th graders, because they're new to the building, they're new to us. I did get to meet them when they came through for their day in the building, but I didn't get enough time with them. So yes.
All right. Upcoming 6th grader, what exactly is Schoology, and will there be a session to familiarize parents and students about Schoology?
Absolutely. Schoology is the learning management system, and it houses all of their classes, class information, links to everything. It's new to our division this year, but it's been around for a long time. Teachers have been getting trained on it all summer and working on their own to get better navigating it. We are going to provide some workshops for students and for parents in 2 different groups. And then the first week of school, teachers will be working with students on Schoology. So absolutely.
All right. It says that you mentioned high school students will be attending and not online. I think that you might have misspoken.
No, yes.
Explain that they'll be attending their online classes every day.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes. High school and middle school students will have more of a traditional bell schedule, but they're all virtual learning through November right now.
And I think we mentioned that if they are taking a high school credit class, if they're taking Spanish or geometry, they will attend that class every day online.
Yes, online.
Whereas the other classes that aren't high school credit bearing would be meeting possibly every other day instead of every day. But the high school credit classes will meet with their teachers every day online.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Will the teachers online be teachers from Jolliffe or from other middle schools in the Chesapeake School District?
The focus for the school division initially was that teachers would be Chesapeake online teachers, and you potentially could have mixed sections. And by mixed, I mean kids from different schools. Then I think central office really heard that parents really wanted their students to have their teachers from their home school. And so now that is the focus, is that our online students who are option 2 are going to have Jolliffe teachers. And then of course our students who are option 1 are going to have Jolliffe teachers as well. There are a few exceptions, and you would see that, and it would be denoted in your child's schedule when you receive it, where our sections are full and we just can't get a student in for a bell, and they had to have a bell with another teacher from another building. The superintendent has tasked us with literally turning over every stone to make sure our students have all Jolliffe teachers, or Great Bridge Middle School students have all Great Bridge Middle School teachers, and that's what we've been spending the last week and a half doing. We may have, and we still don't know if we will, a few situations where we just couldn't fit a student in because the classes were already full, the computer assigned, and maybe one section, their online teacher would be a teacher from somewhere else. But it's looking good that the vast majority of kids, there are only a few that we might not be able to work through. But like I said, we've been tasked with trying to figure it out before we say we can't offer that. And again, you would notice that, and it would be denoted when you get your child's schedule. So it's not something you won't know the first day of school. You would know beforehand. That way, if you needed to call us or talk about it or whatever, you'll have time to be able to do that.
All right. If your student starts out with option 2, will they still receive a face shield for when they do return to the school? I know that the teachers were getting face shields. Are we getting enough for all the students, or only the students that need them?
Yep, it was said today at the employee forum that students and staff would get them, but nobody's going to receive those until they come to the building. So those won't be passed out ahead of time, but any student that comes to the building will have the ability to have one. Now, just like everything, I'm sure some kids are going to say, I don't want it. But if your child comes home, let's say we're back in school and you're like, where's the face shield? They're like, oh, they didn't give me one. That's not the case. All you have to do is contact us and we'll make sure they then have it in their possession. Because I'm sure some kids are going to be like, I'm not wearing all this. But if you tell them they have to wear it, that's the way it is.
Okay. Will textbooks be uploaded on the Chromebooks?
Possibly. Can't say that for every single subject. We're still waiting on guidance on textbooks and which ones are going to be electronic, which ones we're going to be given and distributing hard copies of.
Will student planners, oh, sorry. Will student planners be provided this year to keep their different days organized?
No, none of us are providing hard copies of planners just because they can't be really well sanitized. You're going to see a lot less paper as well, even if kids return to school. A lot of things are going to be electronic. The planner or the handbook will be available in an electronic format, and we are going to work with kids and parents on the calendar that's available through Schoology. In other words, if Mrs. Garrett gives your child a homework assignment, it's automatically going to populate on their calendar. So we're going to work with kids on how do you keep an online calendar. You know, where's the note section? Where can you jot down reminders to yourself? How to really effectively use that. And we'll have workshops on that throughout the year.
And that's all of our questions right now.
Well, we want to thank you, APs. I'm going to unmute you for a second just to see if you have anything to add, because I can't be guaranteed that I remembered everything that we wanted to discuss. Your parent questions were amazing and awesome, so thank you for those. Great food for thought for us. Do you guys have anything you want to add? I unmuted you.
Not at this time.
They're like, no, thank you.
They were great questions, though.
They were great questions. We're going to work to, like I said, we'll post this because this was recorded. And then I have somebody that said that they would very lovingly try to transcribe the questions so we could have frequently asked questions, a document. That way, that would be something that might be helpful if you're like, hey, I don't remember what they said about this. And that would be something else that they were said. Can I get a birthday shout out for, was that Elijah?
Elia.
Elia? Where is Elia? I don't see Elia. But happy birthday! I'm looking through I'm looking through all the pictures. We've got 4 screens of pictures. I don't see them. Happy birthday. We hope you have a good one. Oh, now everybody's saying happy birthday. Thank you, parents. We appreciate your support. We hope this has been helpful. And, oh, she's running. We hope this has been helpful. Like I said, we're going to continue to do this. Mr. Hoffer is a runner. Ms. Garrett likes to pretend she's a runner. She's really a slow jogger.
I'm not.
Slow jogger. You need to send us video of you running. We would love to see that. We miss the kids. We miss them. We miss them. And, you know, we're going to be popping into classes, checking up on kids and checking up on